In this video, I'm going to talk about all of the things that I like to document when I'm going through a project history. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Jenny Famularo-Cano. I am a designer, educator, and creative coach, helping creatives just like you organize ideas so you can communicate with more clarity. With every single creative project that I ever take on, I like to keep a running history of the project. What this does is it makes it not only help me keep receipts on the effort of the work that I'm doing, in addition to the deliverables, but it helps me prepare for when I'm going to update my portfolio or whenever I add and create assets for that future presentation that I have for pitching myself to a new client. Doing this while you're in the middle of the project makes it easier for you to prepare, and so that you don't have to revisit all of those working files when you're finished and wrapped with the project. So when you do things like track your project history, you're tracking your progress. All of this is collecting receipts for your effort, and all of that effort shouldn't go wasted completely, and it shouldn't be completely to the ownership of that one MP4 file. There's so much more to motion design than just that file that you're sending to your client. So some examples of your progress could include things like screenshots, exports, any renders. These are what we talked about in the outgoing folder. What it can also be included here is the feedback that you receive from your client. Because if we receive critiques and feedback, yes, we might have something like Frame.io to keep track of all those comments, but it's also good to have a track of that on your own system. You might need to reference it in the future if things are changing, and also referencing exactly how you have managed to address those comments as well. I like to always keep that separate from all of the different tools because there's so many tools out there, and it's always good to just keep it all in one place. This just prevents you from having to go back and need to defend your stance on something that you did in design round one that someone's asking in the final export, like, why did this happen? Whenever something changes, you should always go back to your project management and update those details with those changes and note why this is changing and when and that you've agreed to. Otherwise, you should not be accepting every single change that you've been requested for, because that's when it becomes out of scope and that's not what you agreed to. For this example, I have these assets for Blizzard that I designed with my agency, where I had to add this countdown to these images. And it started with 3 days, 2 days, and then the last one said tomorrow. What I found was, while I was working, is when I tried to add the text that we've already committed to, it didn't look right. I added tomorrow and it was hidden behind the character. I tried to make it squished a little bit so it was all to the side of the character, but then that made the text very diminished and tiny, so it wasn't very visible or very exciting. And having to export all of that for my art director, that's what made them see that we had a problem, that we needed to change the content. And sometimes it takes needing to create these exports for our clients to see the problem. And so for that, they were able to go back and be like, okay, we can change the text. So we changed it to 1 day, so it matches the original layout and the same scale as the previous version. And in doing all of these different things, managing all of your project history gives you a lot more clarity whenever you are working with a project, regardless of the size of the team of the client or the team that you're working with. So that way you're always protecting the information and that you have a source of truth that you can trust, that you own. That is just one aspect of the projects that I like to keep track of. Check out this next video for more information of how you can organize your files a little bit more. And until then, I will see you in the next video.